Namaskara. Udhbhavaha welcomes you to day two of Charcha. I think we had a great day yesterday. We have a lot of questions. I'm pretty sure that we are just warming up. Believe me, so many things to talk about. We are just warming up, and the discussions will just get more exciting from here. One important message that we are on Facebook Live also. I will share the link on the chat box here. It's facebook.com/Udhbhavaha. We'll share it on the chat box. We are live there, and anybody who's not on Zoom or because we have a 100 participants limit in Zoom, so beyond that, I think we can all see this discussions on Facebook Live. And post this, we will also, so keep your questions coming. We the more questions we get, we will continue. We'll take it up in future discussions also. So we want to make this a regular thing, and we can take those questions in future discussions also. So keep the questions coming. Now I would like I will ask uh, Govind Prabhu to take forward. We are still 3 minutes to. It's still 10:57. Maybe we can wait for 3 more minutes to start at 11. But we are on Facebook Live because I think many people will be joining at 11 also. So, and one more information. So many people were asking where can we find the books of Pawan, written by Pawan Gupta ji or Arun ji, Govind ji. So post this. We'll post the details on our Facebook page also. We have email IDs of all the participants who are logging in on Zoom. So we'll share it on their mails also. So please go visit our page facebook.com/Udhbhavaha, where you can get more details about it. So we'll be regularly posting our details here.
Manjuji, can you send a Facebook link? Because somebody is asking.
Chat. It's on the chat box. It's facebook.com/Udhbhavaha. It's not just Udhbhava, Udhbhavaha. And we are live there.
Okay. So we will start.
Yeah.
People will join.
You
So I'll just recap what we were discussing yesterday with Arunji and Pawanji. You know, that they focused on their journey, and they focused on the concept of sthiti and how gati is the consequences of that sthiti. They discussed on invisible reality and the visible reality. Pawanji emphasized so much on the concept of finding meaning instead of simply mugging of words. It was a very profound concept, right? And we also discussed about fulfillment instead of successful, right? Arunji gave a very honest and apparently very brutal answer for people in regards to investing in relationship. Wish I could have made crores of rupees, but I did not get much time to do that. So this kind of authenticity was experienced by us. Yes, certainly people are looking for a definite answer how to do it, because you have invested so much of your time in education. I think one of the tragedy of our education system, when the guidebook started coming, model answers. I remember talking to one Ayurvedic Vaidya. He said, originally in education, the children would ask question and the teachers were forced to go deep in answering their questions by researching. Researching not the paper, but researching the surrounding. But unfortunately nowadays, the teachers are asking question and the children are simply spending their entire year mugging up many answer papers from different years. It's like vomiting the answer paper, you know. So it's a very unfortunate reality. The concept of discovery is lost. Rather, simply imitation has become the success of education. I remember talking to another very interesting lady on education, Indumati. She said 4 things have been, happening in the modern education. These 4 things are Adunik Shiksha. She said gives rise to 4 things. First, I'll speak in Hindi. One is Daridrata. It gives rise to Daridrata. Second, it gives rise to Asabhyata. Third, it gives rise to Dasatva. And fourth, it gives rise to Himsa. Very interesting. And what is Daridrata? Daridrata is a poverty. What is Asabhyata? Asabhyata is shamelessness. What is Himsa? It is violence. And what is Dasatva? It is slavery. So poverty, slavery, shamelessness, and violence. And one interesting factor which yesterday Pawanji was discussing about crack in relationship. The children will go back and basically feel contempt against their superiors. I was just reading something from Yudhishthira Maharaj's Yaksha Prashna. Yudhishthira was asked by his father in disguise. He said, how do you learn? I was quite amused to read this. He said, where does the learning happen? He said, the learning happens when you associate with Vriddha. Vriddha is not synonymous to old. Vriddha is not synonymous to old. Vriddha means vriddhi, jinki vriddhi hui hai, vikasit hue, evolved people hai. And he gave the example of ladies in Uttarakhand, profound experience of life, and therefore they could speak it properly. So she was saying, very interesting, sabse badi daridrata, the greatest daridrata of modern education is that daridrata of relationship. Daridrata of relationship. I remember talking to one man, a South Indian person. So one day he was massaging his father. You don't hear that nowadays. अपने पिता के चरण दबाना लोग मसाज पार्लर में चले जाते हैं, right? The question of children massaging their father is unheard. The parents are pampering their children. So when he was massaging his father, almost like 23-year-old, very highly educated, is massaging his father. And he said, Papa, why did you had 7 children? आपके पास तो पैसा बहुत कम था. Then he gave a very profound answer. He said, Beta, this is my treasure. This is my wealth. संबंध ही मेरी समृद्धि है. Relationships itself is my prosperity. So therefore, it's a very interesting concept. So please, when you listen to Pawanji and Arunji, don't look for a model answer. Look for a sutra. आपको वो सूत्र देंगे. They will give you a sutra. There is no definite translation for sutra in English. Sutra will be given to you and you will apply according to your situation. So therefore, it is very important. Yesterday they were discussing about listening attentively. Our process is not so much about reading. Yes, we have read books, but it is more about listening. So when you give close attention in the Gita, again, 7th chapter, Krishna explains to Arjuna, listen carefully. So let us listen to them. And I'll begin with my question after mentioning this 4 principles: Daridrata, Asabhyata, Himsa, and Gulami. Right. So my question is, Pawanji, there is one of the greatest fear, the fear of uncertainty. The modern education gives you the certainty of having a job. Roti, kapda, और कम से कम भाड़े का घर. at least the rented house is guaranteed. So should I focus the certain fearlessness, even though it's boring, rather than adventurous uncertainty, which you people have chosen that path? And how many can do this? Is it not very rare? Should it not become legacy for a large number to people follow, or it should be a museum piece followed by a few people? So how do I deal with this fear of uncertainty in future?
I'm so happy, Govindji, you asked me this question because this is something fundamental to what we were talking yesterday. I would like to expand on it a little bit. We were briefly talking about languages yesterday and how important is language. And in that, we said that listening, of course, is the most important thing. But I would like to bring here to the attention of the viewers here that if you take all Indian languages, I mean, I'm including Tamil, and I especially mention Tamil because Tamil is one language which does not derive its origins from Sanskrit. Rest of the Indian languages have their roots in Sanskrit, perhaps, and the dialects also. But all Indian languages and all Indian dialects, including the tribal, so-called tribal dialects, I don't like using the word tribal, but just for communication's sake, all our dialects, all our languages, including Tamil, the construction of the sentence is different, fundamentally different from the way English, French, and German is constructed, European languages. In our languages, because I don't know Tamil, I know Hindi, but you can translate it in your own languages and see whether I'm making sense. We say kaam ho gaya. In English, we say work is done. We will say kaam ho gaya. Work has happened. And in English, we will say work is done. उसी तरह से we will say मेरा हाथ जल गया, उसकी शादी हो गई, उसके बच्चा हो गया. Everything happens, and this is not just Hindi, this is across all Indian languages. In English, everything is done. She got married, he got married, she gave birth to a child, I burnt my hand. So the sense in English and European languages is that of doing. In our languages, the sense is it has happened. That doesn't mean that the doer, the person who's doing it, had no role in it. Of course, he had a role. But that role was amongst many other things which came together for that result to manifest itself. The result is not in the hand of the so-called doer. The doer is only one of the several elements. So, in our philosophy, we have two causes. We talk about cause and effect, cause and effect. We have two causes. One is called the nimitta karan and one is called the upadan karan. The upadan karan is the fundamental cause without which nothing can happen. And nimit karan is incidental causes. And the classic example which is given is like a potter makes a pot, a ghada. And they say that the potter, the instrument on which the ghada is made, the water which is poured into the clay, all these things are nimitta karan. They are not the fundamental cause. Fundamental cause is the clay, which is not made by anyone. It is there. It is sort of, if you believe in God, then it is God's creation. So that is the upadan karan. And the rest of everything, including that instrument, that particular potter, etc., they are nimitta karan. Because if not this potter, some other potter could have made it. If not this instrument, some other instrument could have made it. But without the clay, you couldn't have made the pot. So whenever we do something, we are only nimitta karan. But the arrogance of the modern man, which is embedded in European languages, is that the sense is I am doing everything. That is one. The second is modernity. I bring modernity again, which is sort of related to modern science. It has given a certain collective arrogance to people. Individual arrogance is another matter. Every individual, maybe someone is arrogant about their looks, someone is arrogant about their knowledge, someone is arrogant about something else, etc. But this collective arrogance, that we can do what we like. Hidden behind it is science can do what it likes. So, and modern times, we are extremely, extremely fearful of both uncertainty, and the result should not be an inch different from what we have planned. It has to be so. If we want to take a flight, it must reach the destination at such and such time. If it doesn't reach, even if it's 10 minutes late, we get disturbed. So science in modern times is all about controlling the outcome. Exactly so. In our tradition, uncertainty, the reality of uncertainty, the existential reality of uncertainty has been recognized and accepted. That is why it has come into our languages. It has flowed there very easily. What has been said in Gita, that you do what you want to do, but forget you have no. I mean, I read it like this. People say it's a sermon, but I think it's a statement of reality. You do not have any control over the outcome. You can only attempt to do something, but forget about the outcome. The outcome is not in your hands. So the thing is, the existential reality of uncertainty has been recognized very deeply. And you and me, if we start looking, we can see that uncertainty is omnipresent. In English also, there is a phrase called, there is many a slip between the cup and the lip. What does it mean? It means that between the time you're picking up the cup and putting it into your lip, bringing it there, it can slip. Many a slip between the cup and the lip. This is all uncertain. So if we start looking at, we claim that I have done this, I have done that, I have achieved so, but not just you. Of course, you played a role, but there's many other things which have happened. Some of it you can recognize. Most of it you will not be able to recognize and pinpoint also. It's just the chemistry happened and things unfolded and manifested the way you think was right. So this is a deep philosophical thing, but you and I, without becoming a sannyasi or without becoming a big saint, we can see that uncertainty is all the time present in every moment. Right now we are talking, my internet connectivity goes it stops, I won't be able to talk. Yesterday it happened. For 10 minutes, I couldn't join you people. So, every moment uncertainty is there. Now, the thing is that you look at an ordinary villager, the villagers that I was talking about yesterday, the woman that I was talking who said that hona sikhao, dikhna dikhana mat sikhao. They are always prepared for uncertainty. And therefore, in different Indian languages, we have all kinds of phrases like "jo hota hai achhe ke liye hota." This is simple folk knowledge. Jo hota hai achhe ke liye hota. Whatever happens is fine. Even a person like Krishnamurti, I just heard him the other day. He suddenly, in the middle of his talk, he says, "You know what is the secret of my happiness?" And there are about 1,000 people sitting on the ground, and there's a pin drop silence. And they all, oh, he's going to tell us the secret of his happiness. And Krishnamurti says, I don't mind what happens. Simple. I don't mind what happens. So what does it mean? That it is uncertain. Whatever happens is all right. So this has been in our culture, in our tradition, that be prepared for uncertainty. And what is uncertainty? If you talk in mathematical terms, then I would say it is a subset of a huge, infinite realm of the unknown. We don't know everything. Even an average common person like me, if I start really thinking and dwelling on it, I will know that there's a whole lot which we don't know. What science discovers, what you and I discover, is a small speck from that huge, infinite realm of the unknown. That is what keep discovering, and this is a new finding. Whether it is the computer, it is the car, or it is a new, whatever it is. That is something that we have picked out of the realm of unknown, and now we know. It was hitherto not known, now we know. But that doesn't mean that the unknown has disappeared. Unknown exists, it's infinite. And uncertainty is part of it. So the point I'm trying to make is, if we start dwelling on this, our ancestors have done it, and they have, or therefore, their faith came from that this unknown is always there. This uncertainty is always there. We have no control over it. Let's accept it. Let's recognize it. It's not resignation. It is acceptance of a reality. It's a very proactive decision. It is not like a defeat. And this is true faith, at least for a person like me, who's been corrupted by modern education, I would say, who's been corrupted by this so-called scientific thinking that we know everything, who's been corrupted by the leftist point of view, as I was telling you yesterday. This was my route towards going to faith. And it started because I started comparing. I've read a lot of Mahatma Gandhi. For my own work, for education, and I spent a lot of time with Dharampal. Both of them had one thing in common. They may be having many things in common, but that what is relevant here is they had huge respect for the ordinary Indian. Huge. And that respect was not a patronizing respect, not the bechara, that he's poor, he's destitute, like, we, the privileged, have a certain kind of, either it's an exotic ordinary who sings and dances and does folk music and folk this thing, and we clap, and they're wearing different clothes than us, and that kind of, not an exotic attitude, not a patronizing attitude, not an attitude of pity. It was real respect for an equal. And they felt, I've seen it, I've read Mahatma Gandhi, and I feel it very palpably that he had this respect. And when I spent time with Dharampal, I felt it, that they had this respect, that this man he lives his life far better than the educated person. Educated person is always scared, always insecure, always trying to run the race, always trying to achieve more and more for what he doesn't know. And he's always fearful. There's a deep-rooted insecurity. And what is that insecurity? Kal kya hoga? What will happen tomorrow? I must earn more. What if I fall sick? What happens if I die? What will happen to my children? All kinds of fear, all kinds of insecurity is there, that which has no basis. It is all created by the mind, and he doesn't know how to deal with it because he has lost faith. His faith has been replaced by blind faith, I would say blind faith in science. An average modern educated person goes to a doctor and gets a medicine. He doesn't know how to read the prescription. Even if he can read the prescription, he doesn't know what that medicine contains. Even if he knows what the medicine contains, he doesn't know what the impact of those chemicals on different bodily organs going to be. He just believes the doctor. He believes the pathological report. But he, not for a moment, doubts that this is an assumption he's making, this he's believing this is not something that he knows. He assumes that he knows. And he finds the simple villager who goes to a temple or a masjid or a gurudwara and worships there. I'm talking of the simple Indian, He finds he's a foolish man, he's going there and he's doing all kinds of things. How is his behavior any different than his? I think that person's behavior is far better because he's believing in something which is almost, it's the truth. Unknown is a truth. Uncertainty is a truth. So the point is that how the modern mind has been corrupted. The fear of the unknown comes from the fact that we refuse to see uncertainty. We refuse to see unknown because science has given us the arrogance. Modern education has given us the arrogance that you are the doer. You are actually not the doer. You are only an attempter at best. You attempt something. But the doing or not doing, unfolding, manifesting depends on a whole lot of factors that you don't even know them. So this is my answer, an humble answer, because I'm not neither am I a scholar, nor I am a very, I'm just an ordinary person. But when I'm talking, telling you what I have experienced, what I have come to from those last 30, 40 years. I have done my learning has been basically unlearning. I had to unlearn a lot of things, which somehow I imbibed unknowingly from the environment in which I lived. That environment including IIT, that environment included my school, that environment included my circle in which I move around, the newspapers that I read, the magazines, the books, everything.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful answer. It's a, if you, our listeners, if you carefully understand the answer given by Pawanji, beginning from the language to science, right? Focusing on the foundational principle. Where does the problem lie? Problem is not about which system. The problem lies which psychology we have, right? Again, he quoted Gita, he quoted realities, he quoted the village. Just see how much beautiful integration is there. In fact, in the entire Gita, if you focus, empty number of time, Krishna again is not giving a idealistic advice, he is giving the realistic advice of so that is there in the language itself. That's what Pawanji is repeatedly saying, and that is the core funda of education. No, it's a core funda of education. So therefore, please, I would recommend people to go deeper and understand this concept, and when you apply in your real life, it will create a great adventure for you. Saying this, I will come to this to Arun ji. Arun, you have raised your children in a home atmosphere. One of the greatest challenges for the homeschoolers. That's what people believe, because the understanding is homeschool means ghar pe bitao. So they feel that homeschoolers lose the social interaction. They do not connect to the real world. As if our children who are going to school are so connected to the real world. So, yes, even if we take theoretically, how did your children who were homeschooled, did not lose their connection to the social world, the real world? How did you do that?
This is like a standard question that we've been getting, ever since we took the children out of school. And I mean, I'm just thinking what story to tell, because I'll have to tell some story about this. The thing is that, okay, I'll tell the story in this way, that when we first took our children out of school, we had we had uh, we had jumped into it without really thinking too much about it, Um, so and then it took us a long time. I think it must have taken a year to figure out, uh, or this process that Pawanji is calling unlearning for ourselves. We had to unlearn all the patterns that we were stuck in, my wife and me. Uh, so it takes some time before you figure this out. And I'm saying that as a preface to this thing about social interaction. Um, we didn't face any problem about social interaction. Our children used to go for other classes, music and dance and all that, and they were used to go and play outside. Uh, that is one thing. Also, just because you go to school doesn't mean that you have a vibrant social life, no. So that is also, I mean, it is something that we have to reflect on. I'm saying that the person who asks this question can reflect on their own experience to see that the idea of the school is not a place for socializing us to fit into society, no. It is an artificial environment. You've got the same age people sitting in one classroom, and one teacher is coming and talking one full day. In the middle of that, you form friendships, and you have one experience of life. The same kind of way you can have an experience of life outside the classroom also, which is what happened to our children. They didn't have too many friends till they came to college. Our last our boy, he's not gone to college yet, but he goes and plays football. He knows some people there. So it in the in effect, it has not been. It's I don't have an ideal answer for this. It's not that our children had a lot of friends outside the school thing to compensate for the fact that if they'd gone to school, they would have known many people. Uh, but it seems to have sort of worked out. For example, in the case of our son and our elder daughter who went to college, they didn't, once they were in college, there didn't seem to be any problem. They seem to form friendships with people very easily. So I don't see that as a problem. It was a problem till our elder daughter went to college. Till that time, it was a stick that was used on us, saying that you wait for your children to go to college, and then you will realize that you made a mistake. By taking them out of school. I mean, so that was very easily sort of sorted out. It has never been a problem. I'm saying that all these questions come from a place where we need to be able to what can I say, reflect on this, and all of us will get the answers, which the correct answer only. We arrive at the correct answer, but we have been, our assumptions and our brainwashing, we can call it, is so strong that we get stuck on all this. Socialization is not a problem. No, it's not that we've kept our children in jail or something. I mean, it's free. It's freer than the school, because these children who go to school have to get up in the morning and catch the bus and go there and come back and all that. No, our children don't have to do that. So I don't know. I mean, I'm saying now our children have grown up. It was an issue when we started. It was an issue. I'm saying it took us some time to go through it. So I can just say from my experience that it has not been an issue actually. And I think anybody who jumps into it will also discover the same thing. If they so yesterday I was talking to Manjunath. He was saying that I keep talking about this, that the point is that we paid attention. As parents, we paid attention to our children. I think that is what is required to be able to solve all these problems, whatever arises. This is social interaction is just one question. There will be 10 other questions which will come. All of them can be solved if we pay attention. And this is somebody who's on in chat was just asking whether is this talk about education. Again we are coming to that same thing. Where are we talking about education? There's no physics being talked about here, and how does sthiti gati and how does uncertainty come into this whole business of education? The point is that all of this is education. All of this is I mean, it is not separate from life. If we defocus from physics and chemistry, we come to the realization of what this whole game is about. And it takes time. It takes Pawanji wants to say something. You're on mute, Pawanji. Yeah, so I'm sort of
Finish
finished.
and
I'm
I'll say
finished.
something.
I'm finished. I'm sort of finished. That's all actually, really.
Yeah, I mean, all I wanted to say was that we are talking about, hopefully, fundamentals of education. We are saying that the grounding on which present education is built upon, there's a problem there. It's not in the nitty-gritty of modern day education. We can go into it. There'll be lots of problems there. But we have to go into the core. The core on which the modern education is based, there's a problem there. It is all based on comparison. It's all based on gati. It's all based on evaluation of those materialistic parameters. And we are talking of making a shift from there to the paradigm of sthiti, to the paradigm of meaning. If we make that shift, and that's possible, we have done it. If we do it, then everything else will follow. And another thing, I mean, today's education is all focused on subject teaching. It's subject focused. Subjects are man-made. They are basically classifications, categorizations of what is. So you classify certain things in a certain way and you give it a name. You say, this is geography. You look at geography 30 years ago and look at geography today, there's a world of a difference because the category has expanded. So these categories keep on changing, they keep on getting modified. They are basically tools for knowing what is. That's what education is all about. Now, what we are saying is, let's start focusing on the object and let subject follow that. Let's understand that tree, or let's understand what is respect. Not that we focus on folding hands or touching of the feet. This is all right. But you can touch the feet, you can fold your hands, and you may not have an iota of respect within you. What use is that folding of hands or touching of the feet? So we are focusing on folding of the hands, we are focusing on touching of the feet and saying this is respect. This is not respect. Respect is something else which is within you. You'll have to look within you and find and discover that yes, this is respect. And now, yes, this occasion demands, or I feel like folding my hands. But if I am in a crowd and I see Govinda somewhere there, I may not be able to fold my hands. But we can exchange looks and he will know that there's respect in that look. And I will know that I have paid my respects to him. Good enough. What is more important? So we are saying education should be about the real, about the eternal, about what is, first of all, which is not to say that we are not going to teach about what to do, how to do, and all the skill and information and all that. That must be also part of education. But if we have all this and we don't talk about the fundamentals, then no. Then you are making people, the educated, into just a cog in the wheel who is subject to manipulation. Today, I find people are quoting from a newspaper or from a media channel or from a WhatsApp university, or from, if they are more sophisticated, then they quote from New York Times or Guardian or BBC or Wall Street Journal or Washington Post, and they spout that as knowledge. That's not knowledge, it's information. So if Wall Street Journal or Washington Post or BBC is manipulated by someone and they want to indoctrinate you, it is very simple, because you believe them blindly. So what we are talking about is taking education to the roots. And nothing is in isolation. People don't talk about, education is not like that it is unconnected with society, is unconnected with media, it's unconnected with the rest of the world. Education is part of life. So we are basically trying to address, because we feel the problem lies at the core, not in the periphery. The periphery will become okay on its own once we address the core.
I hope actually what both are speaking again, please focus on the the thought process of the the educationalist here. They are focusing on the fundas, the foundational principle. I remember talking to another very, very wise teacher who is based in Bangalore only. He said, this is the time now, just like when you make a dosa, right? What you have to do, you can't, if you want to make a proper dosa, you have to do upside down. It has to be pura ulta karna padta hai. An education system, first of all, focuses on job seekers. And the survey said that 93% of our engineers are not employable. The first of all, an engineer to be employed itself is an insult. Right? Because engineering is connected to creative thinking. Even that, forget, they are non-employable. 93% of them are non-employable. Let us go to the West. Every 28th second, the child is dropping out of the school, not being absent, dropping out of the school. I was speaking in an medical conference. I got to know from there, every year about 300 doctors commit suicide. Then where is the hell we talk about simply dealing with fixing little here, little there? So these two gentlemen are defining what education is rather than what is the fixing of education. So please focus on the fundas of education, right? So therefore it is very important to understand, if your generation now getting 100%, 95% is not a big deal. When you have a few 100,000 people are getting more than 95%, that does not make your children intelligent. It only makes them falsely arrogant without contributing in their own life and contributing to the life of the society. Very interesting point Pawanji made. Collective arrogance. The collective arrogance is one of the greatest tragedy of our modern generation. So therefore, let us focus on the fundas of the education. If you find it is not connected to what you're looking for, you are welcome, to find the skills of education. Maths kaise padhana chahiye, science kaise padhana chahiye, 98 kaise karna chahiye. Most of the tutorials are expert in getting you 99%. I have a very good friend. He's there in this discussion. Frustrated mathematics teacher. Even though he is able to give 100% result, this year ICSE got 99.94% result. Can you imagine what a collective arrogance that gives rise to? They don't experience the concept of failure, because being a failure is also a successful only. So let me come back to Pawanji. They will not change from their fundas to giving the details. They will focus on fundas only. So the question is, Pawanji, the life is designed in such a way, we are supposed to focus on the detail also, unfortunately. So how do I deal with the detail, which is roti, kapda or makan, and the foundational principle of life? When at what stage my fundas, my foundational principle will fix my day-to-day details?
No. See, I want to make this thing again very clear that the paradigm that we are talking of is not either this or that. Our paradigm is this and that, either and or. All we are saying is that right now, everything is focused on gati, on the doing, on the looking part, on the manifested part. But the manifested, the doing, everything, all these, the gati side, actually follows from the sthiti side. You behave the way you think. You may not consciously think, you may unconsciously get very angry and throw up your hands and all that. But it is still coming out of a certain sthiti. People are stuck at home. They're very scared just now because of Corona. Because the fear has been instilled in them, and therefore the action of not going out of home. Action of not going out of home or going out follows something else. So we are saying, we are not saying that you go or you don't go. We are not saying that. We are saying that let's correct the fundamentals. Let's prioritize. Once we do that, this will follow on its own. You will take the right decision on your own. No one will have to teach you what to do. The doing will come out of your own self. That is called creativity. So we understand a certain thing, 10 people, we understand something, and when we go out into the world, all 10 of us will do according to our creativity, according to the circumstances in which we find ourselves. It won't be imitating each other. Each one will have their own creativity. Now, the question about livelihood, I just want to bring some small thing to attention of the viewers, that I'm giving you a data. 1750, this is about 270 years ago. This is just before the Britishers started ruling India, so to say. But they had started coming much before that. But 1757 is supposed to be the decisive point when British established themselves after the Battle of Plassey. This data is 1750, and this data is not an imaginary data. This data comes from American and British economics historians. Many of the viewers today must be familiar with a famous book called Clash of Civilization by Paul Huntington. If you look at that book also, this data is there. The data is that in 1750, India was manufacturing, some people say 24.5, some say 33% of the entire manufacturing of the world. If world was producing 100 rupees worth of goods, India was producing 24.5 or 33%. This is the range. So almost more than 1/4 of the production was happening in India. And mind you, this is non-agriculture produce. This is leaving out agriculture. What is the production? The major production is of cotton, of course. But there is steel, there is brass, there is copper, there is whole lot of things is happening in India. They never went to school. I mean, the kind of schools that we talk about today. There were no skill training programs. We had no category called unskilled labor in this country. I want the viewers to think and ponder about it a little bit and not just leave it saying that, oh, that's gone. No. What has happened that this is gone? What I'm saying is that the tradition was there in India where every child learned a certain skill to look after his physical needs. This was coming through tradition. And it is not a big deal to look after no animal goes hungry in the forest. How come? Only the pet animals go hungry. Only the animals who are left in the cities go hungry. So there is enough. We need to understand that it is not a difficult thing to live by. The problem is that our education has not made us realize the difference between need and want. Every want has been converted by the market forces, by the media, etc., into a need, perceived need, not actual need. So your need keeps on increasing. Actually, it's not your need. It's your want keeps on increasing, but you think it's your need. This is the biggest indoctrination which has happened here. And I'll request you, please go to the YouTube or please read a book by a person called Edward Bernays. Edward Bernays. If I have time, I can narrate that story in 2 minutes, Govinji.
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
Okay. So Edward Bernays was the nephew of Sigmund Freud, but he had a speech defect. So he could not find a job in a university. He was a very bright fellow. He migrated to America. I'm talking of 1920s. And he found a job with a cigarette manufacturing company. I think it was Philip Morris. And his assignment was to increase the sale of cigarettes. You know what he did? At that time in America, women were taking out protests. They were protesting and agitating to get the voting rights. Women did not have voting rights in America till 1929 or something. Now, this person, what he did, he got a brilliant idea. He hired prostitutes. At that time, let me tell you also the context, that at that time in America, people used to smoke, women used to smoke, but far less. They would smoke, the tradition or the culture at that time was they would smoke, but smoke in hiding, not so openly. Few women would smoke openly, but most women will smoke on the side. So Edward Bernays got this idea. He hired prostitutes. And the prostitute's assignment was, whenever the women's procession was going on the streets, he asked the prostitutes to remain on the side so that they can be taken photographs of. And their only job was to take out a cigarette from a packet with a flourish, light it, and blow the smoke in the air so that everyone can see it. And the cameramen would capture it, which Barnett had placed them strategically. They would capture those pictures, and next day they were flashed in newspapers. Within a very short time, cigarette smoking became a symbol of women's emancipation in America. It caught on. And cigarette sales within a year jumped by 17 to 18%. You can read this on YouTube, hear it on YouTube or read in the book. This person later on became the father of modern advertising. He was the man who started converting every want into a need to increase the sale. So if we see now, you can argue, no, but now we are here. I am saying, at least look, I'm not asking you all to become tyagis or anything, or to become renunciates. I am saying, let us not get, we are being controlled. We are being manipulated by forces that we can't even see. Education is all about real freedom. What is real freedom? That I can think on my own. But this education today is not making you think. It's making you think the way these invisible forces want you to think. Be them political, be them economic, be whatever. They are indoctrinating us. So the whole idea is to go back to the roots and really start looking at originality. What is originality? It's not such a big deal. We can make most children think originally. But there's an invisible pressure coming from all sides that you are not good enough. You have to be good. You have to learn English. Even if you don't understand, start speaking good morning, good evening, say hello, hi, all that. And start wearing different kind of clothes, start doing this. All kinds of invisible pressure. All kinds of invisible pressure. Even now, even today, the sophisticated ones are, even the ideas are fashionable ideas are what they talk about. Their real life experience may be different, but the fashionable ideas say, oh, you must talk about freedom, you must talk about equality, you must talk about gender. I'm not against these things. I'm saying, have we really thought about these things deep down? Or have we just picked it up because they are fashionable? I'm saying very unpolitical, not correct things, but I think someone needs to say, and I'm very convinced that I'm not saying something is wrong or right. All I'm saying is, Is it ours? Is it really my thought, or have I just picked it up? Is it really my need, or it's because the whole world is saying, no, no, this is needed, therefore you do it. So this is, we need to go back to the roots. And someone asked something about questions, so let me address that also in the same breath. Questions are one of the most important things for the teacher also, but not the kind of questions like Govinda said, not the kind of questions which are asked today. Questions are to be used creatively to draw the attention of the child to what is. For instance, what is respect? Touching of feet, is it respect? Folding of hands, is it respect? No, the teacher can say this is demonstration of respect, but this can be authentic, this can be inauthentic. You can do this without an iota of respect within you. What is respect? So you can't show, because respect is intangible, respect is invisible. How do you make the child understand what is respect? For that, you'll have to keep on repeatedly asking questions with the intention that the question will draw the attention of the child to that which is already there within the child. So you can ask, for instance, is there someone in your family outside about whom when you think you feel good? And the child will most likely say yes. And then you can ask why and find out. And then you can say, yes, that is respect. That is respect. That is love. That is trust. So many of these things you can only because you can't show. I can show them a cup because this is tangible. But how do I show things which are intangible? The only way to do it is by asking questions to draw the attention, because questions are so powerful. Then when you ask the question, the listener, if he has listened, his mind will go there. Whether he likes you, he doesn't like you. If I ask you what's your name, your mind will automatically go towards your name. You may not answer back to me. You may not tell me your name, but your mind, the name will come up, because the question has that power. So the good question has the power to draw the attention of the listener to that space where the answer lies. And this is something that the teacher must learn, this skill. Yeah.
Thank you, Pawanji, for explaining again the fundas, not deviating from the foundational principle. Sometime what happens, the teachers go by what is sellable, and they lose being the teachers. Then they become salesmen, right? But the teacher connects to the fundas only. He makes the student educated. Therefore, very interesting, in the Taittiriya Upanishad it is explained that the definition of a teacher is to make children experience the entire universe as a school, rather than a short building itself as a school. And giving that arrogance to say, this is my school and my school is teaching me. And where are they? They are surrounded by a large building. I remember going to one big school in Mumbai, and there was some, this so-called, famous people who are so synthetic heroes in life. And one student of one film actor had 9 bodyguards. So I told the teacher, the student is not protected, he's imprisoned. He cannot go and touch a ground where ant is moving about, a plant is there. वो किसी चीज का अनुभव नहीं कर रहा है. He is surrounded by the bodyguards. Where is the life for him? We call it as a protection, but he is imprisoned. So therefore, here Arunji, again, the question to you is, your children went to homeschooling. What do they decide? Because now, because of the COVID situation, almost everybody, the teachers are in the home, the parents are working from the home, children are in the home, and our homes are very limited. There are no fields to touch the plant. to touch the tree, to touch the pond. It is everything in a 1,000 square feet bedroom, hall, kitchen, and some may have the luxury of 3,000, but still they are in the Trishanku, in the building. So, what is your advice, since you work from the home most of the time, not work for a corporation, your children did homeschooling. So, what is your advice? How do we deal with our children staying in a home and still educate them, which is a very frustrating situation for them, for us, and for everybody else?
Yeah. So again, I'm always very conscious that we've only got very little time. All these stories take a long time, and I can only narrate some stories.
Don't hesitate. Just speak out. Let us. Let us.
Yeah.
According to Pawan, there is no concept of time is limitless.
Yeah. No. So I'm very doubtful about. So I'm also trying to see how politically incorrect I should be. Maybe not to. I mean, I have to draw a line a little bit. See, the point is that most parents have got used to outsourcing this taking care of the children out to the school. No, the children go to school in the morning, come back, you manage whatever time they're at home. I think every adult, who's got a child, will be able to handle this in their own way. The prerequisite for this is the fact that you have a. I mean, you really want to hang out with your children, you know, and they don't make you irritated all the time. There are parents like that. I know some parents who can't handle their children at all. So it's if you enjoy the company of your children, I don't see any problem actually. It's a great pleasure to have to watch your children grow up in front of your eyes. So because we work and because our children go to school, we don't have the luxury of seeing this in front of us. Now nature has given us an opportunity. So I would think that mostly people will figure it out. There will be some people who will get really unhappy about it because they really don't want to spend their time here, or they've got used to a different way of life which doesn't allow them to interact with their own children. There is also this feeling that people have that you have to be an expert. No, I mean, it's only an expert who understands. You have to be an expert who understands children to be able to handle children. No, and you have to do a B.Ed for that and all that, and you have to study up. Otherwise, uh, the village woman who gives birth to children and these children learn 2 languages at home, she's not an expert. She's just some mother, right? So I'm saying that we have to, maybe all of us have to start reflecting about on this and take this back, take ownership of bringing up our children um, away from this whole noise or this whole flood that has turned our attention away from it. This is a heaven sent opportunity to pay attention again back onto your children, to at yourself, reflect, watch. I mean, what can be more pleasurable, no, than watching your children grow up? So I don't know if that answered, Govinji. Was that?
You want to go little? You want to tell one, two stories about? You
नहीं
can
बस
share
यही.
some.
हाँ नहीं यही है, in the sense that I think, see, the point is, okay, let me put it another way. This goes back to what Pawanji was talking about uncertainty, about unknown and all that. See, the point is that life is so messy, to live just normally. I'm saying if we have all these distractions outside also, it would have been really messy, relationships and our what we have to do, our livelihood. In the middle of all this, uh, we are trying to live a good happy life. This is the project we are on, trying to live the good life in the middle of this mess that is going on around, and we don't realize how messy it is. So the point is that it is not always going to be good. No, you're going to get angry and you're going to get disappointed. You're going to have a lot of these negative things that, again, this whole flood has told you is not something that you should be averse to. That is something what this bhid has been telling us that. So if we are willing to engage with the messiness of real life, I think that is what it means to say that we are okay with uncertainty, or and I mean, life becomes so much richer. Otherwise, I see some of my IIT friends are listening in today. So I can't give too many anecdotes about. I think the person I'm thinking of now is not listening, so it's okay. The thing is that people have worked themselves into a corner from where they cannot come out actually anymore. You know, at 50, 55, we have come to a place from where we have not experienced life properly, and we have caged ourselves into some places from where we this idea that you can live a good life wherever you are, whatever time, whenever you are, that is lost on many people.
Hmm.
So I think just have to open our eyes. It's all very simple. Nobody needs to have a B.Ed degree to talk to children, and it's all great fun. And, I mean that is and that is real life. So engaging with real life is what education is about. Again, I'm thinking of the person who said, is this talk about education? So engaging with real life and growing through that process is what we mean by education, and that is great fun for the person, for the teacher, or whatever, the mentor and the mentee both. Uh, so, uh, so that's it. I mean,
Yeah,
Govindji.
just yes, Arun is very humble. See, that is the beauty of those who actually what's happening in the modern world. I remember talking to one friend. He said, in the modern world, those who don't have experience, they have a brutal confidence, and that we take it as wow, he's giving such a knowledge, right? So when there is a brutal confidence without experience, and that actually cheats everybody, and we take them very seriously. And here are people who have experience, but they are showing humility and allowing people to walk their journey, you know. And then Pawanji spoke about giving the example of 1740, 1720, before the Britishers came to India. Why did he make that point? He's saying if you focus on the foundational principle, the economical development also happens. We are not saying that we live a poverty-stricken life. In fact, another very wise lady told me, there is a difference between living a poor life and living a profound life. In profound life, there is a regal, very artistic simplicity. And now we see there is so-called of luxurious life. People have luxurious car, but no petrol to fill. People have big home. I remember one girl had come from America. Basically she was in this whole thing is happening, right? Exchange. She had come to teach in India, and she made a very profound observation because she was a deep lady, deep girl. She said in America, every home is so symmetrical. When you go to the suburban places, right, it is so symmetrical. All the homes are built properly, structured, everything is so good. But she said, in India, I see every house is different from each other. डिजाइन ही नहीं, हर एक घर का अलग अलग डिजाइन है, अलग अलग कलर है. It is full of apparently confusion. But she said, because she visited many homes, there may not be symmetry in the homes, but there is an orderliness of relationship inside the house. I say in my country, the externals are very orderly, but there is a disruption in the relationship, not only with others, with one's own self only. The mind is elsewhere, the intellect is somewhere else, the ego is broken, the senses are dysfunctional, right? I remember talking to one student. He had a combination of loose motion and constipation. I said, how is it possible? He said, I have a problem of loose motion and constipation. A doctor can tell how it can happen like that. Dono saath mein ho raha hai. He's a constipated also and he has a loose motion also. And he explained to me, I don't want to get into these details. So, but the point is, we can see so much of disruption is there. Therefore, they're saying, go back to the original, go back to the fundas, and the details will place themselves properly. The problem again is, we see, if we study again the history of India, history of Bharat, that we begin with, it kuch hoga hi nahi. There is no U-turn. But the COVID has forced us to reflect. At least for some time, it has forced us to reflect. let us take this opportunity to reflect the realities and go back to the fundas. Even in this COVID situation, if we are looking for quick fix, that itself is the greater danger than the COVID itself. So therefore, Pawanji, I will raise this question. Yes, you're talking about the fundas and we should focus on the fundas. At the same time, our children, our education system, our surrounding is so focusing on the modernity. Is there a facility for our children who are coming from, the way they speak Hindi also, as you mentioned, ऐसा लगता है कि कोई गोरा हिंदी बोल रहा है, कोई ब्रिटेन से कोई गुजराती बोल रहा है, उसमें भी एक्सेंट होगा ना तो अच्छा लगता है. So much of Englishness is there. I remember talking to an English professor. He said, I teach English, but I've never became an English. He said, English मेरे लिए जूता है, वो घर के बाहर ही रखता हूँ, मेरे ऑल्टर में नहीं रखता हूँ मैं. उसको मैं ऑल्टर में नहीं रखता हूँ. वो भाषा के विषय, जो भाषा में विषय, उसका मैं गौरव कर सकता हूँ. Some of the philosophers. बट वो भाषा को ही लेकर आप इतने महान करोगे, वो मैं स्वीकार नहीं कर सकता. I said I'm better than most of the English speaking Indians and also Americans because I teach PhD student, he was telling. बट मैंने इंग्लिश को कभी उसकी पूजा नहीं की, उसको घर के बाहर ही रखा. वो मेरे लिए जूता है, काम कर लेता हूँ उससे. तो ऐसे हमारे बच्चे जो मॉडर्निटी में फंसे हुए हैं, how do I harmonize their modernity along with what you are talking about, the glorious and profound past? How do I reconcile this? Or is there no reconciliation? Or is it a battle? Or is it a peaceful harmony? Can they coexist? Or one has to be eliminated for existing?
मेरे को दर्द है, बहुत पेन है, और डॉक्टर के पास जाता हूँ तो वो 2 उपाय बताता है. पेन किलर खा लो, ठीक हो जाओगे, या इसका रूट में जाके इलाज करना हो. तो तुम you'll have to suffer for a while, but you will get out of this disease for good. You will become really healthy. पेन किलर खा के हेल्दी नहीं होगे, you will have an illusion of health. दर्द ठीक हो जाएगा, इल्यूजन होगा कि मैं ठीक हो गया, लेकिन वो फंडामेंटल कोर प्रॉब्लम वैसा का वैसा है. तो ये each one of us will have to decide. Who am I to tell? But I think when we have left education to the school, we have left education to the teachers, so-called teachers. ये हमको 200 साल में सिखा दिया गया है. अभी स्कूल रहने दीजिए, अभी नया एजुकेशन पॉलिसी आया है. That also is outwardly I like it, except 1 or 2 points. More or less it is good. But that is the veneer. We'll see how it is implemented. वो तो एक अलग बात है. The point is, if the parents are saying the school will do the job, मेरा तो responsibility over हो गया, I'm sending him to the best school, and बस हो गया मेरी responsibility, तो कुछ नहीं होने वाला. Things are very bad. India especially bad है because we are a wounded civilization. We have to accept it. Modernity is a problem everywhere in the world, but it is a double-edged sword in India because of the 1,000 years of slavery in this country. It has done something to our psychology, to our psyche. So we want to, वो जो है वो सब जो कूड़ा करकट है उसको हम अंदर में छुपा करके we show a brave face, we show a clean face. इससे मेरे मतलब this is my personal view, चलेगा नहीं. You'll have to clean up and you'll have to go to the core. The parents will have to take some responsibility. By all means, send them to school. I'm not saying don't send them to school like Arun ने किया, बहुत बढ़िया काम किया. Everyone can't do it. Those who can't do it, even they will have to take some responsibility. And they will have to do something at home so that they keep on attempting that the child sees the real from the eternal truth and the transient truth. झगड़ा तो इसी का है ना. We all know सच बोलना अच्छी बात है, लेकिन हम सब झूठ बोल देते हैं. है ना? हमको सबको पता है कि okay, I have got knowledge, but I also want to get good marks. ये हमेशा चलता है. So I am not saying leave good marks. आप attempt करिए, लेकिन knowledge तो रखिए. Good marks के चक्कर में कुछ आता नहीं आपको. अच्छे नंबर मिल गए, अभी सबको 99% नंबर मिल गए. We hear every day, अखबार में सुनते हैं, that person is PhD, is a peon, but is he worth anything more? हमने तो बहुत इंटरव्यू किया. हम तो I have decided, I am 67. I have decided I will speak my mind. हमको पॉलिटिकली इनकरेक्ट होने में कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. कोई सुनेगा सुनेगा, नहीं सुनेगा नहीं सुनेगा. What do I have? Don't want a name or anything like that. The point is, these PhDs who are peons, I've interviewed PhDs, I've interviewed MA people, I've interviewed graduates and high school students. Believe me, the average person who's educated in India, what he claims, I am MA, so you have a certain assumption, ye itna janta hoga, doesn't know. So the degrees and marks are being given, you know, either they cheat or they. एक बार एक लड़का मेरे पास एक प्रधान लेके आया कि इसको अपने स्कूल में रख लीजिए. ऐसे ये तो फेल है, इसको कैसे रखें? बोले नहीं, इसमें इसका कोई गलती नहीं है. जिस सेंटर में ये बैठा था और वहां पे जिस मास्टर जी ने इसको नकल करवाई, वो गलत नकल करवा दी, तो ये फेल हो गया. तो इसका मतलब जो पास में वो भी अपने आप पास नहीं हुए. This is our state. This is the reality. You ask a BCom student about simple, I've got 5,000 rupees, I want to put it in the bank, किसको debit करें, किसको credit करें, he doesn't know. This is the reality. So we have to face what it is. And we suffer from a deep inferiority complex in this country. Even at the topmost level, I don't have any hesitation in saying it's only when Mr. Chidambaram speaks, you know, look at his English, the way he speaks. And especially when he speaks to a non-English speaking journalist, look at his attitude. Just study his face. What is that? If you don't want to see it, don't see it. That is, the point is, we are deeply wounded. And unless we look at that and do something about it, we can never be a relaxed society. सबसे बड़ी चीज education must do is give you स्वतंत्रता and सहजता. ये दो चीज आप कर दीजिए, किसी भी तरह कर दीजिए, बाकी सब कुछ हो जाएगा. सहजता means जैसी स्थिति वैसी गति. You are not pretending. You are not trying to be someone other than who you are all the time. कभी कभी कुछ करना पड़ता है. आप सिगरेट पीते हो, पिताजी आ गए, नहीं पियो, अच्छी बात है ना. ये मैं इस तरह से नहीं बोल रहा हूं कि जो आज की मॉडर्न लाइफ है, I'll do what I like. What that is not freedom. So just tell them, freedom is not स्वतंत्रता. अगर हम स्वतंत्रता का रियल मतलब सिखा दें बच्चों को, स्वतंत्रता meaning the way things are, the way it is, the way the universal order is, live in alignment with that. If we can really expand upon this and teach our children this and Sahajta, rest of it will be done. We are the most asahaj society in India today. हम हर समय we are trying to hide who we really are and trying to pretend to be someone else. Let's focus on that. ये नौकरी, I mean, the whole world is running after a job. Why? Where will the jobs come? एक तरफ आप robots बना रहे हैं, एक तरफ आप automation कर रहे हैं, और दूसरी तरफ आपको job चाहिए. I mean, don't you see the contradiction between the two? We have to stand on our feet. But no one wants to do that. Everyone wants a job. I have many friends in the business community whose fathers, if you ask them, will you do a job? They say, what? Me? Job? No, never. Job was considered the most demeaning thing in certain business community in India. Today, their children are doing jobs and they are feeling very proud because they are getting 2 lakh or 4 lakhs or 10 lakh rupees a month. So what has happened to us? We are all running after jobs. And this education is saying, yes, we'll produce people who will get, and they don't, what they promise, they are not able to give also. So we'll have to start looking at the most fundamental issues, face it head on. There are no easy solutions according to me. For one person, 2 persons, yes. I know some people who prepare their children from class 6 onwards to go into IIT and then go into Harvard. And some of them are successful also. And they think successful in that. I don't consider that as a success because they are not fulfilled people. They are insecure people. Even after getting 2 lakhs, 2 crores salary a year, they are still insecure. They are still afraid. They don't know what to do in this corona. Abhi mere ko ho jayega, udhar ghus ke baitho, udhar. They are full of fear. Why this fear? Have faith. Take precautions. But what is this fear about? You have lost your faith and you think you become scientific. You become rational. So, these are contradictions. So, no painkiller for me. I would rather go and do a fundamental job, even if it causes me a little pain in the short run. To answer your question, there are no easy solutions. This is my view. My view. I'm not imposing it on anyone.
Profound. Again, it's very profound. Again, just to add, like you also quoted Gita about not expecting results. One of the core foundational principle of Gita, there are only 2 verses twice recited in the Gita, and one of the verse which is recited twice in the 3rd and the 18th chapter is about looking for one's swadharma. No, not based upon others. It is based upon one's own self. And there Krishna is saying, even if you die performing your swadharma, it is better to look for your swadharma than doing somebody else's duty perfectly.
Yeah.
Now, this is the words of Krishna. We are going to celebrate his Janmashtami. Even sometime, one of the greatest tragedy, again, I would say, the kind of understanding we have developed, we have become as spectators rather than the participators. We are happy to sit in a stadium watching a stupid people move around their bat, having no understanding of the entire integrated life, right? So we think that is victory, that is success. We go and watch a movie clapping our hands. But even if you study in the scriptures, when Ram and Krishna had to come, they did not want the people to become spectators. They wanted them to be participators. And every participator has to find out where I can participate. And therefore, what Pawanji is speaking about, again, is a foundational principle. I remember he had come to our school and there he had mentioned कि लोग गुलामी चाहते हैं क्योंकि स्वतंत्रता में बहुत संघर्ष करना पड़ता है. He said people choose to be dependent rather than truly independent. Right. So let us help people to become responsibly independent rather than recklessly be independent. Right. Independent लोग बनेंगे, ये स्वेच्छाचारी बनेंगे या स्वतंत्र बनेंगे. So therefore, what Pawanji is saying, going deep and focusing. So therefore, it does not matter whether we discuss about the new education policy or not, because the new education policy is not a new avatar. It is not going to change unless you take the responsibility. It is not Akshay Kumar or some big film actor वो 50 लोगों के साथ में युद्ध कर रहा है और हम लोग we are able to see and feel excited about something which is so stupid as mathematically, scientifically, किसी प्रकार से भी वो सत्य नहीं है, but we invest millions of dollars in that. But if I can become hero of my own life, so Arunji, we will be going to conclude. We'll take one question from each one of you. What is both of your, again, I know you'll speak the same foundational principle with a deeper understanding. What is your last message in this session? I think Udhbhavaha is going to plan a regular interaction if people are interested, discussing deeper and deeper aspects so that people can also walk their journey. They are not going to give a solution, but they are going to give foundational principles so that you find your own solution. So what is your final message in this session? There is no such thing as final. In our katha, when we do katha, it is said that katha khatam nahi hota, katha ko vishram diya jata hai. देखो कितना सुंदर है. विश्राम दिया जाता है क्योंकि it is eternal, it moves on, it goes on. So both of you will begin with Arunji. What is your, one advice or one suggestion, one experience which people who are listening here, they can take forward in their progressive journey of life?
Yeah, I think I'll again come back to this paying attention only. I'll tell a story then. It's what 12:20 now. Okay. In our own journey, we discovered that for in our case for with our children, I think it will work with all children. We discovered that if we were committed to pay attention to our children, they did not need our attention too much.
Wow.
In the sense that if we have from our side decided that suppose I'm doing some important work and my daughter will come and ask something, I have to realize that I have to drop this and pay attention. If that thing is established, if we are able to establish this rule, then we discover that they don't need you anymore.
Beautiful.
This is all.
Fantastic. Yes, Pawanji. You're mute. You're done. Yeah.
I will say, this is what Arun has said is fantastic, absolutely. I would say that the parents can do the following. They can start looking at the difference between truth and fact and show it to their child every opportunity. Let them also make the distinction between knowledge and information and point it out, draw the attention of the child to that also. Like I said, the book of general knowledge does not have a single knowledge in it. It's all information. So point this out repeatedly to the child, draw the attention. Knowledge is different from information. Truth is different from fact. Samajna is different from seekhna. Writing is a skill that you have to learn by doing. You have to repeatedly do to learn to write. But samajna is not by doing. This is आजकल ये बहुत चल रहा है, learning by doing. But there are the most important things you cannot learn by doing. You just have to understand, comprehend, cognize. So make that distinction. What is worth samajna? What you have, there is no alternative but to learn by doing. Driving a car, riding a bicycle. These things are skills. So make a sharp distinction between skill and knowledge and information. Then eternal truth and transient truth. Point out to the child that there are certain things which do not change with time or with space, and point it out to them. Point out that, and the other thing is these transient truths, they come and go. Narendra Modi, the information is a transient truth. It comes and goes. Today, this person holds the record. Tomorrow, someone else holds the record. It's a fact. It comes and goes. The facts keep changing. They do not remain the same with time and space. So all these things that I'm saying are actually part of the same thing. I'm just elaborating upon. I'm saying that we must introduce communicate to the child through distinctions. Distinction, bhed karna, is one of the most important things which is missing in today's education. We either or is one and either and or is another. The child must understand the world is either and or. Aaj ke dunya mein, it's always either this or that. It's either black or white. It's either right or wrong. It is not like that. So this is something which the parents can repeatedly, whenever the opportunity comes, to show it to the child. When they are watching television, in real life, when walking in the market, telling a story, bring it to their attention. And please, your own language, whatever that is, get the child to be in touch with the idioms and phrases and the folk stories of your own, whatever language you speak at home. English will not work because you yourself do not know English. I'm sorry, you may be speaking fluent English, but the English is not in your genes. It has to be in your genes. Be connected with that. Speak as much English as you want, but be connected with your roots. That's all I have to say.
Thank you both of you for covering many. Again, going deeper, we did not cover many subjects because we don't need to. Rather, you went deeper and deeper rather than wider and wider. So going deeper, just like a tree, when it goes deeper, it naturally goes wider in an organic way. So therefore, with this, we are going to rest our session. Again, the word rest is not so correct as Vishram. So we're going to rest our session, but Manju will conclude by saying what they are planning to do with this kind of sessions. Those who want to learn more about homeschooling, the foundational principle of education, they can be connected to Pawanji and Arunji and
Yeah, thank you everyone for this great talk. वही जैसे अल्प विराम ही है, so it is not a full stop. So we have so many we have more questions which we have consolidated, and we have tried to group it up and address in each of their talk. So we will continue these sessions. Maybe we'll make it a fortnightly thing, that once in 15 days we have these kind of discussions. So please be like subscribe to our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/Udhbhavaha. I put it in this chat box, so we'll keep you updated there about upcoming sessions. More topics, homeschooling, technology, all these things. So every topic can be a session altogether. So we will have more discussion around that, and thank you very much. So we had a great response to this. We didn't expect this reach and this response to this, and it's really great listening to Pawanji, Arunji, Govinda every time. So thank you very much. We will keep you posted. So we will also upload these videos on YouTube and share the link on our Facebook page. So Facebook page is where you will get all the details of upcoming events. So thank you very much. धन्यवाद सबको इस talk में